What's going on, guys? We are back for the final time in the regular season, I guess, at least. I don't know exactly what you call it, but all the open tournaments are over outside of the LCQs, which I guess technically are also open, so we probably should stop saying that, but we keep saying it anyway. Let's get to the global power rankings. First, let's take a look at what we did last time. Probably click off that so it looks a little prettier. Here's what we had last time. I think some people had some good points. A lot of people are like, where's Gen G? Sorry, but that boys lost last time triggered me very, very hard. So I didn't have him on here. I think some people are like, Vitality could even drop in further. And you know what? Looks like you were probably right. But here's what we had last time around as a reference point. K-Corp number 1, it's going to stay Energy Furia, Dignitas, Vitality, Falcons, Ultimates, Gentlemen's, GK, and Space Station. Now, maybe one of these teams probably drops off completely. Besides that, so we might add one team, but probably these same teams are going to be on there somewhere, right? So, let's do it how we always do it. We're going to erase everything, and we are going to put them by region. And again, we're going to do regions of Europe, NA, SAM, and MENA. I'm sorry, OC, but after that last tournament, I cannot even entertain you being on this list. And SSA and APAC, are not going to be on this list just yet. But they could surprise some more and do some stuff. So, first, we'll talk about Europe. Let's go over here. And let me get to the proper portion here so we can kind of go through Open 6. So Open 6, obviously, was on the show. Got to watch it. K-Corp did the business, did what they had to do. Basically, we got the European, the best teams, top 6. They all made it to the final day. Relatively comfortably, I would say, as well. Ninjas and Pajamas, they won't be on this list, but they continue to look good in groups or look good in top 32 and then falter when it comes to playoffs, as we saw here. Mates look great. They even tested K-Corp a little bit, which is nice to see. Besides that, Dignitas versus Vitality, round 3. Every single top 4, this split has been between the two of them. Dignitas wins this one again, wins that series 2-3, at least in split 2. They also won the one time in split 1, but Vitality did wind up with some better placements overall in split 1. So Dignitas takes over the EU2 seed. Very huge. And then K-Corp is obviously K-Corp, doing K-Corp things. This time, they were mad about the last Dignitas match that they had, and they took care of business 4-0. It was relatively close. It wasn't crazy. All 1-goal games, 2 overtimes as well. You can't see that, but I can see that. But yeah, so K-Corp obviously is going to be number 1. So let's go back to our other screen. So we have KC as your number 1 team. You have Dignitas as number 2, I think, without a doubt. Vitality will stay at number 3. And I get, a lot of people, hate on them hard. I don't hate on them as much, but they are on the downswing for sure. Mates will be 4th. It's a little bit hard to tell exactly where we should put them. Try to see who the Mates played in their groups. Mates lost to Dignitas 3-0. And then they beat 100%, which is not as good a result nowadays, but it's still a pretty good result. Vitality, though, they took care of business against BDS and BSK. And BSK has been a top 8 team lately, so that's not a terrible win. And Vitality also took care of GK very, very easily. So that's a good sign. For GK purposes, they are knocked off this list. I'm not even going to have them in the top 10. Just feel like they've kind of fallen flat. And yeah, so they're not going to be on this top 10, so I'm not even going to include them in this power ranking, but they would be next, followed by Ninjas. But yeah, so that is Europe. Let's go over to NA. And I know there's a lot of hopium nowadays in NA, and I think that's perfect. That is great to see going into Raleigh, right? It's an NA major. NA fans can be excited, absolutely sure. I'm still a little hesitant, I'm not going to lie, because say this was Open 5, and what Open 5 was with Open 6, I think there would be a whole different story. So, let's look at that real quick. So, because last time around, we had Strictly Business and the Boys as your top 4 teams. And good players, but it's it's not the best in the world. That's also because Ultimates, obviously, with their power outage. But I feel like NA... there's a top 4, and then there's everyone else. And maybe complexity, maybe a top 5, and everyone else. Very similar to Europe, where there's top 6 and then everyone else. So you expect these teams to make it. I just don't like when they lose to these teams in big moments, like we saw last time with Gen G losing to the boys in Open 5. So I'm still a little hesitant. I think their peak can be great, but I am still a little hesitant about Swiss at the major. Probably won't show in this power rankings too much, but still. I'm just saying, I'm still a bit hesitant. So really, the big factors here is energy. They ran into a blemish. That's fine. Not a huge deal. I'm not too worried about them. They've already looked great through the first 2. And if you look pretty good, you're allowed a blemish here or there. I know, I'm being nice to energy. It's kind of rare. So I'll probably keep them 1. The Ultimates, their only saving grace is they do well against energy, haven't done well against Space Station and Gen G, so they're still in that conversation. I think Ultimates, because of what they did at the major and stuff, I think the bare minimum they can be is 3. Space Station takes down Ultimates 4-1, 4-0. I think that does move them up to number 2. So well done to them. And they get the regional win, which is huge. The only thing that could be a factor, and generally it's not, with rookies going into LAN, is the nerves. Space Station has, I think, said on Twitter or something that they have been nervous before, but also that was in the past, right? And they just got their regional win, so maybe that is gone. You still have to worry a little bit about that. I think Space Station, I think their floor is higher than Gen G's, and I get last split they missed a regional, but I think that has changed now, right? Like, I feel like Space Station, every single time they're in a regional, I'm actually going to look at the rankings here real quick, because I think they've always placed top 4, I should say, or close to it. I'm probably missing one of them. Space Station, Yeah, outside of that, so 5 points was 4th, right? Oh, no, I'm sorry. That was the top 5. So they had a top 5 there, but then here, all top 4s at the very least. So, Space Station, I think their floor is a little higher than Gen G's right now. Again, I'm triggered by that boys loss still from the last playoff, so maybe that's me. So, in my case, I am going to put Energy number 1. I think Space Station deserves number 2. I get the Ultimates had a good major, but they have not looked like that team this entire split. I'll keep Ultimates at 3 at the very least, even though I think Gen G has a better head-to-head record against them. Ultimates, they can at least take down Energy, so that's always like a good sign, right? And then Gen G, I will put number 4 here. They might all make the list, they might not. Gen G might just barely miss the list again. We'll have to see. Sam, I'm not even really going to look at this too hard. We'll take a quick peek. Let me get to Sam. South America, Furia has just been so incredibly dominant. They finally lost one. They'd won Blemish back in Open 4. There were some lag issues with Lost and stuff like that too, so maybe it's that, but they've been very dominant. They've had some close matches, but not this time around. They went 3-0, 3-0, 4-0, 4-1, 4-0. So Furia, at the right time, getting incredibly hot. Team Secret, clearly number 2 in Sam. But I don't think they make this list at this point. I dropped them off the list last time around. I don't think they make the list, so I'm just going to only have Sam as the one, or have Furia as the one team from Sam this time around. But Furia, I am still, and this is rare, I am very high on Furia. I'm pretty sure this is the highest I've ever been on Furia. Normally, I'm like, I don't think they're actually that good. I think they're, top 8-ish, right? But they really impressed me at the Birmingham Major. Maybe their opponents weren't the greatest, but I still liked what I saw out of them. So I'm still a big fan. I know most people have been dropping Furia a lot in their power rankings, but I probably won't drop them nearly as far. So moving on, we got Mina. Got to talk about them. Let me bring that up. But obviously, this is a 2-team region as well. But I feel like the rest of Mina has been catching up. I'm actually really excited for the LCQ. I'm really excited to see who makes it out and what that team can do, like what damage they can bring. Because if they make it, or if they have an LCQ, which is very likely, I think they make it through that play-in stage and make it to the Swiss, and then we'll see what happens there. But let's bring that up real quick. So you can't see the other group, that's okay. Falcons and Twisted Minds were on the same side this time around, but they did avoid each other. Falcons 3-1, 3-1, a 4-2, a 4-3 again. Like these, they don't worry me necessarily, but it makes me think like maybe people are starting to catch up. And then a 4-2, Twisted Mind's barely surviving again. So again, look out for these teams, Vision and Alcazaya. I can't say it. I don't know. And other teams too. We'll see what happens there in the Meta LCQ. I think one of those teams is going to do some damage when they get to the World Championship. But for now, Twisted Minds and Falcons are your top two. There's really not much more to say there. So we'll come back here and we'll write both of them down. Twisted Minds might make it, might not. I know they got a top 8 last time, but I still wasn't like overly impressed with them at the major. So I don't know. But that's pretty much it. These are your teams. You have 13 teams to choose from. Oh, no, I'm sorry. 11 teams I have here, and that's it to choose from. I'm trying to think if I'm missing anyone. I don't think I am. So 11 teams. We have to make it down to a top 10, right? So we will start on this side. We'll start with the easy ones. You have K-Corp number 1. I feel like a lot of people are moving around this top 4, maybe more than I thought they would. I'm going to keep Energy at number 2. They have a blemish. They lost to the Ultimates. It was a meaningless regional. And again, I'm being nice to Energy. This will be the only time I ever do it. But I still think, based on what they did in Open 4 and 5, they looked very dominant. They look like they figured some things out. So I think Energy at 2 makes a lot of sense. Because also at Permanent Major, they did not look great, and they still got a top 4, right? So I think they'll be just fine. Last time around, we had Furia at number 3. I am actually going to change this slightly. I'm actually going to put Dignitas here now. I think Dignitas has shown that they're clear EU number 2. They've shown that they can beat K-Corp when K-Corp's playing at their best. Obviously, they just lost 4-0. Sure, but K-Corp does that to a lot of teams, right? And I think Dignitas has shown that they are red hot at the right time. They look great this tournament. I think they deserve the number 3 spot. This will drop down Furia to number 4. Furia, it's not because of what they've done. I think Furia has done exceptionally well. I like them more than the Falcons right now, which again is rare. I'm usually a big Falcons fan, but Birmingham Major was not a good look for Falcons in my opinion. So Furia, they will be ahead of Falcons, even though Falcons went perfect in MENA for the split. They were tested. Furia, not technically perfect, a little bit of a lag incident. You could say, and I don't mind people putting Falcons above Furia. I just don't think it. It's Falcons have a tougher region. And I agree with that 100%. Like, if you take whatever the SAM LCQ team is and the MENA LCQ team, I think MENA wins that. So, I get it. But I'm going to put Falcons here. Vitality used to be on this top 5. I think Vitality is going to drop a lot. So, Falcons, we will put them there at number 5 just because it's a perfect split. Maybe they figured it out. Time will tell. But, yeah, so we'll do that. We can erase some of this now. So these are your top 5 in my opinion. So we still have 3 NA teams. I'm just going to move them down here just so they're out of the way and we can continue with this list. We have 2 European teams done. We have 2 left to put somewhere. We'll put them right here. TM. There you go. Beautiful. So where do we put them? Where do we put these teams? Like, I'm usually EU biased, and I think rightfully so. Europe is normally a very good region. But I'm going to do something crazy. I'm going to do something crazy. I'm going to put Space Station here. I like what Space Station's doing. I think they deserve number 6. It was a good quality NA regional win. And at their peak, it seems like right now, they actually have a better chance to win this tournament than maybe a Vitality, which sounds insane. Which sounds absolutely insane. But, yeah, I think Space Station deserve it. I think they get number 6. I will put Vitality here at number 7. I'm going to put Mates. I actually liked what the Mates were doing. But it's just hard to tell exactly where they go. So we'll do that. I'm going to put Ultimates, I think, at number 9. So then we have either TM or Gen G. So we're going to put Ultimates here. I think Ultimates, obviously, a Grand Finals run, great. They have not looked like that team whatsoever. They can take down Energy, which is great, but it's too up and down right now. I could see 8 or 9 flipping, possibly. But I think Vitality and Gentlemates are relatively close. So, yeah, I'm going to move Ultimates down to number 9. I'm just not sure. You know what? I'll put Ultimates here. You know what? I'm going to be even nicer to NA, guys. This is crazy. This is crazy. But I think these 3 teams, I think Ultimates and Vitality are the perfect example of, like, the same team. It feels like right now. Like, Ultimates, a lot of disappointing results, or a lot of, like, you expect a lot more out of them. Vitality, it's the same exact way. But I'm trying to think. You know what? Ultimates, I'm going to be extra nice. I'm going to be extra nice to NA. I'm going to move Vitality down another one. I'm going to move Vitality down another one. This might be the NA major. This just might be. I think 7, 8, 9, as you can clearly see, I think are incredibly close. You can probably put these in any order that you want. But that's what I'm going to go with. I'm not happy having Ultimates at 7, but at the same time, sure, we'll give them their Birmingham Grand Finals, I guess. They did take down Vitality there. So, sure. Let's put Ultimates at number 7. Gen G or Twisted Minds. So, I wasn't a huge fan of Twisted Minds, but they still did rather well last time around. They're getting closer with the Falcons. A lot of 1-goal games. Did they figure it out in time? Gen G, though, they do rather well against the Space Station and the Ultimates. You know what, guys? You better save this video, because this is the most I've been nice to NA in a very long time. All right, we're getting ready for the North Carolina Major. Raleigh, baby. Here we go. North America, now is your time. You might be able to get all 4 teams in the top 8. I very much doubt it, but it could happen. Gen G, and also Spaceman was very angry with me that I didn't put Gen G in top 10 last time. And I love Spaceman. He's a great guy. He just won an award. I think a Telly or something, or a Tubi. I don't know. Teletubby? I'm not sure. But congrats to him. We'll put Gen G. Why not? Why not? I'm going to be extra nice. I was a little bit down on Twisted Minds recently. Maybe they've come back. I've been down on Gen G. Gen G, that boy's lost, though. Don't ever do that again. In playoffs, when it really matters, just don't. Please. Okay? Thanks. So this is it. This is our list. Let me clean it up, make it look nice, and look at that. That is your top 10. Should I do it like this? There we go. Gen G. That looks better. There you go. Top 10. It's beautiful. I'm going to do a nice little pose for you. There you go. That's my top 10. I think it's pretty decent. People will argue. I think maybe, yeah. I like this list. I think I'm high on Europe on the top end, which I think is rightfully so. And I'm low on their back end, which I think that makes sense. Mates over Vitality, that could happen. Like, I did like what I saw out of Mates. So, I'm excited to see what the Mates do at LAN. I think they could do some damage. Vitality, at some point, they're going to figure it out, right? At some point. Ultimates, at some point, they're going to refigure it out, I guess. Furia and Falcons. Furia, I've loved them so far. Falcons, perfect mean split. They move up 1 spot. I just was very disappointed in their major performance. So, I hope they also have figured it out. I think there's a lot of flaws with all these teams. We've said this before. A lot of flaws with most of these teams outside of K-Corp. Maybe outside Energy, because they look a little bit better. They can't have that same offense they showed last time. And Dignitas. I would say those 3. And maybe even Furia. Those 4 look pretty good. Fury just might have a lower peak, right? But we don't know that for sure. So we'll have to see. But I think those 4 teams, a lot less issues around them compared to all the other teams. I think, like, Energy, you could put in that boat, but they've done so well in NA that I'm not as worried about them. But this is the nicest I'll ever be to North America, so you better love me in the comments below. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you at the Raleigh Major. Bye.